Henry David Thoreau wrote that most men lead lives of quiet desperation. And I think if we're honest, a lot of leaders know exactly what that feels like. The doing and the doing and the doing, the calendar that never empties, the nagging sense that there's something more, but not knowing where to go to find it. Today's guest heard that call and he followed it. Larry Baker has spent the better part of 45 years on what he calls the inner journey, a daily practice of contemplation that he credits as the foundation of every leadership success that he's had. Not strategy, not hustle, the work beneath the work. His past started in an unlikely place, a near-death experience in the early 80s that sent him searching for answers about what this life is actually for. And that search led him to a book by a Tibetan monk, and then another and another, and eventually to a practice that has shaped everything since. Now in retirement, after spending many years as a CEO, Larry spends 3 hours a day in contemplation. Not because he has the time, but because he knows the impact, as you will hear. And his purpose now, because of the impact, his purpose is simple: to advance and advocate for the inner journey and to help other leaders find their way there too. Fair warning, Larry said that this will not resonate with everyone, and that's okay, although I suspect it will resonate with more than he knows. If there is a voice inside of you that's whispering, there's more, this conversation is for you. Larry, welcome to Being at Work.
It's my pleasure and privilege. Thank you, Andrea.
I feel emotional for some reason. I'm just so grateful for you modeling the way, and I'm really eager to unpack your journey, the practice, like why you call it contemplation. So tell us a little bit about how this started for you.
Well, it started at birth. I was born with a heart defect, so was face to face with my mortality as a kid, basically, and asked questions in my youth of why am I here? What if I die? When I die, am I really going to go somewhere? And I never got those answered. I also had a procedure that remedied my heart condition and lived. So fast forward to the early 80s, I had a near-death experience, one of many car mishap sorts of situations, and all of those unanswered questions came rushing back to me. I was in my late 30s and asked myself those questions. I didn't have the answers, so it's like I've got to go find those answers. And where it led me, because I had looked elsewhere and not found answers in the conventional places, it led me to a bookstore, and I found a book, one of those books that kind of falls off the shelf at you, if you will, and it was by a Tibetan monk. So that was my first exposure to meditation, to turning inside. And in the Eastern traditions, there's a lot more of silence and stillness than there is in the Western tradition. So it led me there. And something else that I remember that Andrea and I have talked about from the book is it said, the answers you're looking for are inside. And I said, BS, I want answers. I'm reading to get answers.
Right.
Where, give me some answers. You've got all this wisdom. And here, decades later, I learned that truth and that wisdom, the accuracy of that. The answers are inside, and they're in that still small place. They're hidden right in plain sight. So that led me down a path, and it was a failure, one of those fail forward. I've meditated for, since the 80s, but unsuccessfully at first, and doing it as a hobby. It's like playing golf and not playing very well, sort of a situation. And that's one, I know a lot of people that have tried to meditate, and it just doesn't work. I fail, I start, I fail, and that's been part of my path. It's not been it clicked automatically. And so they're like golf, there are good days and bad days. But I persisted, and really the contemplation is really an inner path, seeking inner higher things. So the contemplative tradition and the contemplative life, which is a big part of my life and what I'm here to kind of share with others, is really a life that's an inner outer. Work on the inner and it affects the outer. It's an increased awareness, an increased consciousness, increased knowing of yourself. The old adage, know thyself. It's an inner path to know thyself. And there are 8 billion different paths. The unfortunate thing is most people don't know where to start, don't know where to go, and they're going to the same places and don't get anywhere. And they don't know how to turn inside, and there aren't the resources to help you turn inside and maintain that and sustain that. So it's tough. It's tough. And what I would share with everyone is that you're going to fail. So if you're going to quit when you fail, then you can start, but you're going to fail and pick it back up and fail and pick it back up. And one of my objectives and intents with the rest of my life and my resources is to help provide a path for people to direct people on paths. But I use that, I incorporated that into my business, that what happens is you connect with yourself. I'm going to use some 4-letter words here, Andrea. I hope it doesn't offend the audience, and this is where it won't resonate with some people. Words like love and care. So I cared about my people. I cared for them and I cared about them. And I cared about my customers. I had relationships with customers. And I cared about them, cared for them, and that's what made the difference. My people, we were a team, and we were collective, and we were on a mission, we were on a vision. And part of what I taught them was, an inner journey, and it's not a religious journey, it's not a spiritual journey, it's a journey of knowing yourself, but it's about personal development, self-development. And as you get better, it's a law. Thoreau was a student of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Emerson has essays. One essay is on compensation, and he could call it on karma. It's the universe will not be fooled. You do something bad, your karma's a bitch. But karma's real, and it can be used for good. So I've learned to use it for good. Do good things and good things happen. Grow and good things happen. So I knew by building an organization of teammates at FleetWatcher that were committed to growing as a programmer, growing as a customer success rep, as a sales rep, but also growing as a husband, a wife, a provider, growing financially with financial skills, which we taught them. So we invested in their future. So you can't fake that. You can't say I'm gonna love my team and then they won't quit and we'll be successful. I'll get the best out of them. So it's got to be genuine. It's got to be authentic. And really it's, here's another 4-letter word, heart, H-A-R-T. I'm not a very good speller. But it's about leading from the heart. It's about, when the session that you facilitated, what I remember saying on that evening is, when I learned that it wasn't about me, everything changed. And as a leader, depending on your age and where you are, it's, I got to do this. Like, it's me. It's I'm responsible. I'm in charge. Well, when it becomes about others, when it becomes about your people first, and I practice paradox, people are first, our customers are first, and that's an and. They are both first. And within FleetWatcher, our programmers were the most important team, and our customer success team was the most important team, and the sales people were the most important team, and they all knew how important their roles were, and they knew they were on a path of growing and getting better, if you will, and practicing principles. It was all principle based. There's no shortcuts. You go the extra mile, and that's where the rewards are. And so we operated from that perspective, and the rewards were there, and the rewards were there for me. And those I didn't win that game. We did. And so we all shared. And now Andrea and I were talking about this. My people, my family, if you will, my FleetWatcher family, we only lost one person in 3 years from their choice to leave. And now we were bought by private equity, so there's been some additional turnover, if you will. And I'm very confident of those kids of mine, if you will, going out into the world and doing well and not only surviving, but thriving, because they have the tools to do that.
Because you've developed them. How much of the culture that you created at FleetWatcher, how much of that would you attribute to your inner journey?
Really, all of it, because it was, and this will sound self-serving, but I operated out of confidence, out of love, out of certainty, and so there was no fear. There was no fear of we lost a customer. Back in the day, I would have freaked out losing a big customer. I operated with strength and peace, and my people saw that. So you can't separate the two. It really came from the inside out, the leadership and the following. To be a good leader, people have to choose and elect to follow. Also, to be a good leader, in my view, you have to be leading them somewhere.
Right. Where are we going? Right.
Yeah, we had a vision, we had a mission, and I was leading, and they weren't just following, they were running out ahead. So that all came from the inside out. It wasn't really conventional what I learned from Peter Drucker, or
right.
There's good stuff from Peter Drucker and from Jim Collins.
Of course.
But it was really, it wasn't about me, it was about us. And that, something that happens as consciousness evolves, if you will, is you become
right.
one. We're a team. There's no I in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the leader, but I'm one of the team that has a role to play. And so that authenticity, that human nature, that just down to earth approach was.
So why wouldn't this resonate with everyone?
Because it's not about making money. It's not about success.
I mean, ultimately,
it is, but it's an upside down thing. It's about, the last shall be first, putting other people first, putting your people first, ahead of profits. That's the thing, ahead of profits. So my people were paid well. They were compensated well because they earned it, but I could have compensated them less. We had bonus structures that people would say were generous. Well, to me, it wasn't generosity. It was the law of compensation. You've earned it.
Yeah.
If I don't give it to you, I'm in the hole, and if you will. So a lot of people aren't ready for that.
And their universe is not a fool, right? Back to your
yeah. But some people aren't. I wasn't ready for that. And at a certain age, I would have said, someday that'll resonate with me. But right now, I gotta pay the bills. I gotta survive. I gotta, this might be too wishy-washy for the. I got payroll to make. I've got all the things I went through. I missed payroll 3 times. My home was being repossessed. We were evicted from our office.
And it's not a quick fix.
It's not.
I mean, and it's interesting that a lot of times, this introspective work is considered like the soft work, and it is the hard work.
Yeah. Well, and it is. And we're becoming more aware of that, Andrea, and something,
Yes.
I was born with a heart condition that resurfaced because of the stress I was under. And that was one of the reasons I turned more aggressively to the inner work.
Yeah.
Because there's a science behind it. It's not foo-foo stuff. There's science behind being still and quiet, changing your brain waves to alpha states, to theta states, changing your vibration of your body to a healthy resonance. There's health behind it, physical, spiritual, psychological health. But it's hard, and you fail. And you don't have time. You don't have to do it. That's the part. It's tough. It's tough till it's not.
So teach us, Larry. You've talked about the impact, the science behind it. How do I do it?
Well, you start small and you prepare to fail. And know there's a practice I practice called centering prayer. And it goes back to early church fathers, 1900 years ago. And the practice is you're going to have what Buddha's called the monkey brain talking, the monkey brain chattering. And as much as I do this, that monkey brain is in there. So you got to stop it. And then sometimes I'm more successful. So start small. Really, to me, the most important thing is the beginning of the day, is just a few moments of getting to yes. One of my teachers and mentors says, you open your brain turns on with no. It's cold outside. It's dark outside. I got this ahead of me. All these things get to yes, which is can be a process of taking inventory. It's a beautiful day. I get to go to work. I get to do these things, and quick inventory of all the great things. But ultimately, when the inner work starts to take root, that inner yes can start to come from within. So it starts small. You can go to guided meditations, guided Christian meditations, guided Buddhist meditations. There are apps. I don't use an app. There are practices that are breathing exercises, that are focus exercises, and I lead some of this. And the objective is really to shift your intention and attention to an inner place. So by observing your breath in and out for a period of X number of breaths, and then observing your body, where do you feel any tension? And there are practices to do this. You're being tricked. You're being tricked into shifting your attention to an inner place. So the observer, the witness that's doing that is who you get connected to. Who's the one observing the breathing? That's part of the inner finding. You're getting closer to the real you when you're connected with the observer/witness, not the monkey brain, because the monkey brain is what's going in our head all the time.
And that's not who you are.
We're just trying to stop it, and that's not who we are.
And as soon as you recognize I'm the one seeing that, like, oh, that starts to shift.
I've seen the enemy, and it's me, as Pogo said. So it's a matter of slowing that down, and it's like breaking a horse, if you will. And tomorrow it's a new horse. The next time it's a new horse. And next time it's a new horse. But when you do it, it works. I'm telling you, it works.
And I so appreciate your encouragement, because I think it's like everything else. There's not necessarily a right way, is there? I hear you, like you just shared so many different ideas. Just close your eyes, set your intention, focus on your breathing, and see what happens.
Yeah.
Over the last few years, I recognize like the precious time between like getting out of bed and waking. For me, that is like precious time. And so like before I do anything, before I even open my eyes, like I turn over on my back, I do a little stretch, and then I just say thank you. Just thank you.
Yeah. Gratitude is big, big, big. That's a big one.
And every time I do that, Larry, like this light comes into me. And so then I just play with the light. I focus on the light, and it does different things some mornings. And
yeah.
And I didn't read that in a book. You know? It just evolved.
That's coming from the inside. And that changes your vibration. And it has physiological effects when you change that. The feeling of gratitude is transformative. It's just it's transforming. The feeling of love, the true feeling. So it's a body thing too. We're all stuck in our heads. We think the head is the center of us, the center of the universe, the brain. Indigenous people believe, my wife went to the Amazon year before last, they believe the heart. This is overgeneralization. The heart is the center, not the head. But the heart, head, and body all combined is part of the contemplative tradition. It's inside, then go into outside and use my skills, my talents, my life to do what we're put here to do, which isn't collect and gather. It's to help and to love.
It's to love. It's to love.
So meditation is part of contemplation.
Okay, so talk about the distinction between meditation and contemplation.
Yeah, a contemplative, that's a noun. A person that's a contemplative is someone on an inner path up. That's an overgeneralization, but it's a higher path, a spiritual path, and commitment to exercise that in your life. The action part is key to the contemplative. You can't just go and go to a monastery and be there and pray. Where we are, where leaders have been placed, that's where we're here to do, where we can act, but it's acting from within. That's contemplation, the contemplative life. And meditation, the still small silence. There's power, magic in stillness. It's instantaneous even. When you get to that alpha state and you get to a right gratitude place in your body, that's when really the universe does things in and through us that we're built for.
But when we're running around doing in our heads We're definitely not in that.
Yeah, we're reaction chasing. So there's a lower level of there are levels of consciousness, and so it's awakening to those higher levels and pursuing those higher levels. And where do you find that? Well, it's out there, and when you start seeking, seek and you shall find. That's a law. That's a law. We call it a whatever. It's a code. There's a my company I sold was a software company. That's a code. If you do good, good things will happen. If you do bad, bad things will happen.
It's a law. And gosh, there's so much comfort in that.
It is. So practice it.
Trusting life that it will line up with your intention every time.
Yeah.
So tell me about now, like 45 years of practice, and I love how you call it a practice. Didn't you tell me you average like 3 hours a day? Is that in one sitting? And are you sitting on a cushion? I'm just so curious about these 3 hours. What do you do?
Well,
do you have a space in which you do this every day?
Yeah, right. Here's an altar. Here's my inside place. So this is where I do it inside. I do it outside a lot, but I'm retired, so I have that time, and it's really a challenge right now for me.
Well, but there's lots of things you could do with your time. You choose to do this.
Absolutely, but right now there are things I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not because I meditate. And I've committed. I've started a new nonprofit that is about providing inner paths, and I've got a team I'm working with. And
let's stay connected on that. I want to help you with that. That's so cool.
So it's like I should be doing this, but I'll get to it later because I got to meditate. And there's more to the meditation than just what I've talked about. It's a love affair in the place where I am. I'd rather be there. And in the Christian model, I'll associate it with the first commandment, which is love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, all thy strength. So that's a big part of what I'm doing when I meditate. It's a love affair. I want to be there. I'm drawn. And then, but by being there, I get filled with joy and peace and wisdom and discernment. And, again, in the Christian model, the gifts of the Holy Spirit. So why wouldn't I do this all the time? But I'm there. But it's not, most people don't have 3 hours, and it's really frequently, I've exceeded that today already.
How many hours have you meditated today?
Probably 4. And I procrastinated some things I got to do, and I'm going to do those when we're done, but I'll probably meditate first.
Yeah. But it is like getting yourself in a really good place.
It is. It's a holy experience. When people say I run and that's meditating. Well, it kind of is. Your meditation can be blocking out everything. When I garden, I'm not thinking about the payroll. I'm not thinking about the bad things in the history, the worries about the future, the good things. I'm gardening. So that single point of focus is a point. That's when you're breathing. There's a single point of focus, but it's not holy yet. It's not the heart part. So where we're ultimately going and growing to and then from is the heart. And Carl Jung, the famous psychoanalyst, said the greatest journey that most humans will never make is the journey from the head to the heart. The most important journey that most people never make is the journey from the head to the heart. And so I meditate not for what happens up here. I meditate because what comes out of here.
Yeah, and then the impact that has on everything you do.
So the love I had for my people and my customers that resulted in action, that resulted in process, was from my heart. Wasn't from my brain. Wasn't from my Larry person, because that guy would, it was all about money when I was young. And then it was all about me and money. Then all of a sudden it's not about either. And then I got stuff just coming at me.
Yeah. And then you realize what really matters.
That's right.
What's really important. You introduced me to the word praxis, Praxis. And as the way I understand that from our initial conversation, it's, I think about how the inner work gets enacted in the outer world.
Yeah, that's right. It's a continuum, if you will. It's practice.
And that's what you're describing. That's what keeps you doing it, right?
It's what fuels. Now I know I got to get refueled all the time. And the meditation is a fueling to then go out and deal with things with peace and not fear, and with boldness and not insecurity, and from abundance, and from all those higher things, if you will. So I go out there, and that can include, I live in Carmel, walking on the trail and seeing the beauty in the diversity of the people versus judging all of them as they go by.
Walking meditation.
I can do both very well. I can judge. I'm the judge, jury, executioner in, a nanosecond, or I can be loving on those people, depending on what's coming out. So I keep that. I meditate to keep that full, so I can go out and empty it.
What do you hope that leaders take away from this conversation?
Curiosity, hope, inspiration to, you can start your inner path right now. You already have, you just didn't have a name for it. Leaders have been one way or another seeking and learning, but maybe they didn't have a name for it and a framework or language. So I think that would be the answer. What I ultimately hope, Andrea, is that their leadership transforms their people and transforms the world, transforms their community, that we can help make Indianapolis a better place, and one person at a time, one heart at a time. So that's, I've had these conversations today already with a couple of people about, it's up to us. I believe it's up to business, private sector to use the best brains. Where are they? They're not in government. They're not in education.
Goodness.
They're not in the church. Where are the best brains? And where's the capital?
Yeah.
It's in the business community. So let's put those talents to work. Let's put those hearts to work, and some of that capital. It wouldn't take a high percentage of capital on the sidelines to go start making differences, and that will create a cascading effect, really a domino effect. I call it a multi-level marketing. I forget the term.
A pyramid scheme.
Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme. Yeah, you keep helping others, and then they help others, and they help others, and pretty soon there's nobody left to help, because we've all been helped. The haves help the have-nots.
We're in this together. This connectedness.
We are, and we are one. And that I'm glad you said that. At the core of the centering prayer is what's called, when you get into that still small place enough to recognize things, what you recognize is what is called unitive consciousness. We're all really one. It's not, we can't understand how. The metaphor I use, or analogy, or whatever it is we're all Siamese twins connected in our spiritual hearts, in the same one giant spiritual heart. So that's someone in another continent. That's someone down at Wheeler Mission right now. It's somebody in Riley Hospital that's in need and helpless, if you will. And who's coming to save them? Nobody's coming to save them. Nonprofits are. There's a lot of work there, but we're the hands and feet, or we're not.
Or we're not. I feel that. Connectedness. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's a big part of why this show is so important, is that no doubt there are people listening to you that are feeling something.
Yeah.
There's a relatability. There's a connection. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for highlighting how to get started and encouraging people just to get started.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a bookstore. It was the 80s. There was no internet.
What was the book, by the way?
It was called The Third Eye.
The Third Eye. By
Lobsang Rampa. And he had 13 books. I read them all in, like a few months.
Yeah.
And they're easy reads. They're about his life. They're not real deep, esoteric treatises or anything. It's kind of fun stuff, actually.
We will put a link to it in the show notes so that anybody wants to. I will read The Third Eye, Larry, and let you know.
Well, and read Emerson and Thoreau. On
yes.
self-reliance, on compensation. That's inner work. That's part of inner work. Just studying higher things,
leading you back to you.
Yeah. It's we're lost, and we're lost sheep, and there are paths home.
Do you, in your quiet, you talked about refueling a couple mornings ago, I spent extra time in my meditation and was overcome with this feeling of there is nothing to worry about. Like, it is all so purposeful. There's nothing to worry. And I was overcome with this feeling. And so I noticed the more time I spend, the more grounded and clear I become. Is that your practice as well?
That's the way it works. That's the way it works. And you have those periods where that stays with you too.
Yeah.
It becomes part of your DNA, part of your history, part of what gets programmed into your brain. Even all is well, and it's paradox, Andrea. The world's a shit show, and all is well, and everything's going to work out because and we're not going to sit back and drink our pina colada and say everybody else is going to do it.
No, I'm going to get in there and do my part.
That's right.
And I know everything's okay.
Because there are a lot of people doing their parts, and it's a growing movement of people doing their parts.
Right.
Things have to happen for it to end okay, but it's going to end okay.
Yes. Yeah. Conscious capitalism is a good example. Like, you and I are both like really engaged in conscious capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a place, right, to put good energy and resources in to help move the needle.
Yeah. So there are other knowings, and it goes from belief to knowing. You know everything, and you can't explain why, because you're using you're trying to use inner experience language in an outer experience. You're trying to use color language in a black and white universe. So it's hard to communicate that knowing that that all is well. You can't prove it.
Mm-mm.
Look at what is happening in the world.
And people, I had a family member actually get angry with me for expressing that. How could you be so naive?
Yeah.
How could you be positive in times like these? And
yeah,
some people.
What do you mean that glass is half full?
Do not want to hear that right now.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I can just nod and say, yes, I know it's really hard. And I know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, thank you, my friend.
Sure.
What a gem. What a gem you are, Larry Baker. I'm so glad you're in my orbit.
I'm a conduit. I'm a channel.
Yeah, you are. If our listeners want to connect with you, Larry, where can they find you?
LinkedIn. And, if you could suggest that you met me through Andrea, that would help, that, knowing where you come from, but that'd be a good place.
That's great. All right.
We'll have a website, one of these days with our new nonprofit that's being finalized right now.
Please keep me posted on that so that we can share that out as well.
Certainly will.
Awesome. Thank you, Larry.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Bless you.
What Larry described, the journey from the head to the heart, the inner work that transforms the outer world, that is not separate from leadership. It is leadership. At Abundant Empowerment, we believe that leaders who change the world aren't the ones doing the most. They're the ones who have done the work within, who lead from a place of stillness, strength, and genuine care for the people in front of them. Our purpose is to expand what's possible for humanity by developing leaders who live fully, lead consciously, and create conditions for others to do the same. And what Larry reminded us today is that it all starts inside. It always started inside. And you don't need 3 hours a day to begin. You just need the willingness to turn inward and to listen to what's already there. So if today's conversation stirred something in you, that stirring is worth paying attention to. You deserve it. So come find our community. The link is in the show notes. And thank you, listeners, for being at work.